Well, this is the first goal of the afternoon. It was gift-wrapped for Mark Murphy. It was the first 30 seconds of the afternoon. 6 goals to zip in the opening term on Sunday night to the Bombers. Against the Blues, the skipper Mark Murphy delivers. And it had a bow on it. The Demons could not have got off to a worse start. The Blues, well, they had the running early in that first term, and then the last 2 goals to Dawes and Frawley seized the margin at quarter time, just 2 points. Well, Jack Watts, he got the first for the Demons and maybe some confidence. One of the co-captains, a fair bit of discussion with Paul Roos, and it was in your grill stuff from Paul Roos last week, and it was with Dean Turlick. And some stern words you suggest this week with Nathan Jones. Mick Malthouse, well, he had a lot to think about during the week, and right now there is a battle on for the Blues, and that man is out of the game, Troy Menzel, and the 19-year-old puts on the red vest, and another 19-year-old comes in, Nick Graham, for his 3rd game as a Blue, his 1st game of the year. So Nick Graham, he's been compared to Nick Stevens at times, not only the way he looks, but the way he plays, a Morris medalist.
I think we saw his debut last year on Saturday afternoon football, and he's a good-sized midfielder, and the Blues will be looking forward to good things from him. Now, the worrying thing about the Blues at the moment is they're just too easy to play against right now. Melbourne started the game slowly, but have got back into the game from being extremely effective and efficient inside 50. They've had 6 scoring shots, 3 goals, 2 and 1 out of bounds on the full from just 8 inside 50 entries. And that is a worry for Carlton, because going into the game, they were the worst in the competition at that particular statistic. Down to Welshie.
Let's go to Welshie. Paul Roos is in his direction right now.
Roosy Carlton were always going to come out fired up. The boys weathered the storm and responded with a few goals themselves.
Yeah, they did. I thought, you know, we got back into it with our tackle pressure, which is something we've really got to work on. We've got to continue to work on it. You know, we've certainly got to play for, 120 minutes. That's only a quarter, but they came out hard.
And it's nice to have a few tall targets up there with Dawes and Watts and Frawley.
Yeah, you can already see it makes a big difference to our midfielders. We can turn around and go and get some, easier goals than we've got in the first 3 weeks.
Good luck, mate.
So tackle pressure, the focus, and Chris Dawes, well, he's a presence, and you can only imagine with Jesse Hogan and another target to kick to, it's going to be a more confident midfield. They have been dearth of big men to kick to in the first 3 weeks. Second stanza about to get underway. The Blues by 2 points.
Spencer and Warnock then to do the ruck work. He got very high, did Warnock, but Spencer, well, in the end, you give him the points. Jones got the footy out. Nicely done to Cross, who holds onto it. Then Long again down in the Dawes direction. Has it been touched? I don't think it has.
Review.
We'll work it out. We'll work it out.
I believe the ball was touched outside in the metres prior to. I just want to check.
Touch. Score review. Umpire's call is touch. All clear from behind. Please confirm.
So Chelsea Rossby pretty clear on what she thought she saw, but the problem generally is, does the picture tell you if it's touched?
Now, Chelsea Rossby's comments
are about earlier.
Well, exactly right.
Well clear of the goal line.
Correct.
Yep, outside top of the square.
And that's what they're checking now, I think, in the bottom left with Rowe, but it may have even been earlier than that.
And that's where, if you look bottom right at the moment, bottom right, it's almost impossible to tell from the camera angle.
Which defaults to umpire's call.
Which means touch behind. Well, this would put Melbourne in front if it is a goal.
It's important to explain that, because that last bit of vision clearly shows that it went through unimpeded right in front of Chelsea Rossby, but the decision that the deliberating is much earlier down the ground.
Interesting too that the ruling was touched, not left to the umpire's call. Be that as it may, a behind only, fast start potentially for Melbourne. It's Carlton by just a point.
Walker zigging and zagging, and again, big fly from Casbolt, but Jones, who you saw with Paul Roos having heated discussion at quarter time, fires it inside 50. Watts already has a goal next to his name, Murphy too, and they collide in the middle of the G. Well, it's not going to come out too easily there. So what would have been a perfect start gets clouded, and a minor score only, the Blues by a point.
Take the confidence away from the centre clearance there, Melbourne. They ran the ball out of the congested area reasonably well, albeit a behind as a result.
So Murphy and one of the co-captains of the Demons seemingly going shoulder to shoulder early in this match. Henderson with McDonald. Well picked up by Casbolt in the end, and nice movement back to space to buy himself some time. Handball wasn't perfect, and in the end Murphy receives from Everett, mops up, and Curnow the diving mark. Back to Lucas.
Yep.
Well, it's going to sit high, and easy pickings for McDonald. Graham, who's just on, pressures Grimes. Well, crashing through in the end. Simpson, desperate stuff. Grimes, just a little bit of a give to space. Pedersen works his way through, does a good job, and McDonald, sure he hit that as he would have liked, and Yaron, well, dropped it and picked up in the end by Bale. So perhaps the Demons here with a bit of space. Cross combines with Bale. Long on, done. This time front spot, well done. Frawley goes back, leads Jamison in the race. Going to be put overhead to space. Frawley, he's in the right spot. Well, in the end, couldn't take it, and Jamison got a second opportunity.
The intent was right, there's no doubt. Lyndon Dunn took the ball across half forward and tried to go as quickly as possible. There's a swing and a miss, thankfully for Jake Spencer. He didn't collect him there, but positive signs that Melbourne are playing with a bit more confidence and a bit more aggression attacking.
Warnock did brilliantly, got up in front and then won it down to Gibbs. That was very nicely done. Kick now from the first gamer, very close to the line. Well, how about that? Bounced at right angles from Cripps and is still in as a result. Tyson got the footy from Cross. Now Jones. This will lift them. This will lift them and put them in front.
Nathan Jones, arms out through the middle of the ground. Now, Mark Murphy's his direct opponent. Nathan Jones is a proven ball winner. He can't be afforded that much space. And you look there, that's a telling statistic in itself inside 50s. Carlton skipper needs to tighten up on the Melbourne skipper.
Well, Nathan Jones, so he puts the Demons in front. He has been a shining light in the last couple of bleak seasons for the Demons, and well, they're alive and well today here at the G. Simpson quickly pokes it forward. Henderson, he'll get there after the bounce. It sits beautifully for him. The give to Ellard. Can he finish? He was good around goals at times on Sunday night, not on this occasion.
Jeremy Howe will do the kicking. What do you think of him deep down in defence, Tom?
He hasn't really found his feet across half-back and the full-back line. Baz is certainly a natural forward, but it's a good part of learning experience for him.
Grimes to Kent. That was a good attempt to mark. It was Lyndon Dunn, in fact, and he gets the free kick he was being hung on to. And clearly that was there. Now, McKenzie's on short. He ignores that one. They're playing with increasing confidence here, the D's. Not a great kick. Dawes caught behind Walker. Walker again showing his courage, dropping back into that hole. We've seen him do that 3 or 4 times, but the weight of numbers will tell in the end. If it keeps getting bombed to Dawes, he's going to get his hands on the end of a couple. The signs continue to be worrying for the Blues. Scotland wrapped up. He won't get out of there.
Thanks, Tom.
It's a bit of a sign, Tommy, from Paul Roos that he's got confidence in his players to play roles all over. If you've got Frawley forward and Howe back, certainly not something you would have thought you would have seen early in the season, and they're both seemingly doing their jobs well. Quick little give from Cross to Viney, and then wider still to Grimes onto the left boot. So where is the target? Dawes again, front spot, hands onto it but not clunked. Into the hands now of Tyson, who takes some time, gets taken around on a journey, and Yaron, the beneficiary, tries to get away. Good tackle in the end from Spencer. Well, Yaron looked over his shoulder and saw the big ruckman and thought, I'll get away from you, but Spencer was up to it.
Thanks, guys.
Just the lunge.
And I'll tell you what Jake Spencer's done really well, and hopefully he proves me right with this contest. He's following up exceptionally well, putting on tackles as a big fella. Warnock's not doing that at all. He's looking for the uncontested ball and spread away from the stoppage. So needs to be hard around the contest, Warnock.
Well, Viney again into dangerous territory. Watts, Walker. Walker got a foot onto it, but it's still for the Blues in a precarious position. Viney over the top. Has he found space? Well, not quite. He's found Rowe. And he might be able to juggle it. No, Kennedy Harris. Here's a chance for the D's again. It's going to be Buckley who saves the day. And again with that dash, takes a bounce and heads towards the wing. Again, this time Henderson presents. And then good job from Giorgio, who has spent some time alongside Turlick in the Norwood strip, and he finds himself beside him again.
It's interesting when you talk about Howe and Frawley, Hamish. It's almost part educational, but part confidence as well. I mean, Frawley's a naturally talented player, and he can ply his trade in the front half. And So he gets confidence out of that, whereas Howe clearly needs to work on his defensive side of the game. So it's really great coaching from Paul Roos.
Everett goes looking for Gibbs. It was a nice, kind, bouncing ball, and then back to Curnow. A long one inside 50. Casbolt, the meat in the sandwich, bottom of that pack. Trying to do the work was McDonald to get the footy out. It's well done by Thomas. He's kept it alive. Not a great handball. Casbolt in trouble. Pedersen got him. And then the quick kick around the corner. That was very clever. It comes from Vince. Nicely done. Viney's long one. Now running onto the football is Bale. They're moving it with increasing confidence. That kick not good from Bale, though. And Frawley just takes it over the line.
How clever from Bernie Vince.
Yeah, wasn't it? A lesser player blazes away, turns the ball over. He's a good size, Cripps, isn't he? We catch up with a few of the young boys at Carlton at half-time, but he's got great physical attributes to develop into a modern-day midfielder.
Warnock to Curnow to Jamison now. Yaron in some trouble. They got pushed off the footy a little easily. Back to McKenzie. Was touched ball, as you heard. Now it's a hot one in there.
Head Curnow, advantage.
And perhaps a little lucky, the free kick taken by Warnock.
To the outer side, and Thomas presented himself. Grimes did well, did the tidying up, and again the Demons link up. Here's a chance. Giorgio, can he find a target? Absolutely he can. Rowan Bale all alone, 40 from home.
Unforgivable that you can have a player like Ryan Bale just... I mean, it's not the player specifically that's the worry. It's the fact, you watch here, there is no one within the screen of Ryan Bale. That's just too easy to play against.
Well, this at the city end to extend the Demon lead. Well, they won't extend it by 6, a minus score. They lead by 6 now, though, the Demons. And, well, the Demons right now have got a little bit of a run on, and after the Blues dominated early in this game, the D's with their noses in front.
So Walker to himself. They're under pressure. That's a terrific mark by Casbolt. Strong hands. Moves the football on quickly to Curnow. Now the kick towards the wing, but Grimes in the hole in front of Henderson. Marks. Confidence continuing to rise, and that kick into the middle of the ground, marked by Matty Jones.
It's been terrific, Jack Grimes.
Jones just pops one up. It's okay for Vince. Moves it quickly. Here's the other Jones. Through the middle. They control it nicely. Watts was on the end of it. He used Jones. They keep moving the football forward. Now Cross got it from Tyson. Goes backwards to McKenzie, popping it into the space. Not quite Bale. Had an opportunity, just pushed off it a little too easily in the end. And the clearing kick okay from Yaron to the skipper.
Gee, you can feel the real excitement lift down here at ground level. The Melbourne fans are up and about, and so they should be. The tackle's 11-4 in favour of Melbourne this quarter, so they haven't increased the workload by free running. It's been through their work rate and their hard pressure and tackling.
Well, Lucas really wasn't presented with anything, so deviated to the right, ran himself hard up against the boundary line, and then retreated to Carazzo. Now, again, it is Henderson who is the obvious target. Casbolt. Well, he's got 6 or 7 metres on Spencer, and this is better movement. Quite hitting Simpson. The take was clean, though, on the half volley to Scotland. Back onto the left boot. You heard the umpire touch play on. There's going to be Demons at the full of this ball. Vince, can he take it cleanly? He can, but he had his arm pinned this time. Graham for the Blues. Offline, minus score.
A very similar feel to the first quarter here, but the teams in opposite positions. Melbourne have absolutely dominated the start of the second quarter, but haven't been able to put Carlton by any stretch away. And Carlton just need to hang tough, endure, and get back in touch.
Nathan Jones has got moving too, Tommy. He's up to 11 disposals now, and that's a very, well, not quite. Didn't hold it. Should have held the mark. They might be okay, though. Kennedy Harris at the back of the pack. He swoops on the football, kicks towards the wing. Ellard, well done. Watts got an important hand in there. That's brilliantly done. He gets it back, Watts. Clever football. That was really nice play from Kent. And the kick into the middle of the ground. Jones again, disposal number 12. He's the leader for Melbourne, and he kicks into the space out in front of Matt Jones. Keeping up with the Joneses at the moment is the order of the day for the Blues, and I'm not sure they're able to do it. Matt Jones back towards full forward. Frawley just needs to soccer, and he's kicked it. They're up by 11, the D's.
Terrific play, wasn't it? It was Jack Watts involved on the wing that had a presence and awareness about him to dished the ball off to Nathan Jones, the co-captain of the Melbourne Footy Club, and he kicked it beautifully to Matt Jones. Great build-up, a little bit labour-intensive, but the confidence certainly with the D's at the moment. Confidence certainly with the D's at the moment. Here he is, our swingman, just rising his price up. Second goal for Frawley. And you can sense that confidence. Paul Roos spoke about it at quarter time with Andrew Welsh about having some targets up front with Dawes and Frawley.
A little bit of Lionel Messi about the last one from Frawley. Rowe, little fumble. Here's a chance for the D's again. Kent onto his favoured left boot. Have a look at this. Not quite. It was presented perfectly, and Frawley just couldn't take it. Jamison, heap of heat. Frawley continues to battle. Again to Jones, the little give, cross. They bought themselves some time here, the D's. Now, Grimes, well, in the end, done. Top of the goal square, stood his ground, and surely 3 in a row for the D's.
I'll tell you, you look at the stats, and sometimes they don't necessarily paint the picture for a club, but the two players at top of the list for Melbourne, the two captains, Nathan Jones and Jack Grimes. Jones with 14, Jack Grimes with 12. They've led the charge for the D's. They have got their tails up, no doubt about it.
Well, it's going to be 3 in a row in this term if he can put this through, and the last 5 of the match. And he does. And the D's lead by 7.
It's hard not to get excited for Melbourne, isn't it? When you see a side that is, you know, they may not go on to win this game, but when you see the energy and the confidence and the youthful exuberance of the Demons at the moment. Playing with great excitement, as I said, Nathan Jones and Jack Grimes certainly leading the charge.
Well, it's all Melbourne. Everything's going their way. Carlton have got another injury concern. Here we see Daisy Thomas comes in for the tackle there. He come off after that, straight down the race with the doctor and physio. They've already got Menzel down. If Daisy Thomas is down as well, it's going to be a tough afternoon for the Blues.
Well done by Warnock to Yaron. He's got all the pace to burn. And the kick, well, he burnt the kick as well. That wasn't a great effort on the ground. Not particularly well done that time by McDonald, but second effort terrific, like a backman should. Towards the line, it stays in though. Murphy, handball over the top for Curnow. Great tackle from behind. Arm was freed. That's a throw that time. Hillard, beautiful tackle by the man that Tom called for, Nathan Jones, the co-captain. Just inspirational in this second quarter.
Well, this is effort, and this is the hallmarks of Paul Roos' teams over a long period of time. Ross Lyon also, they talk about being an effort-based footy club, which are the things you ultimately can control on a field, and that is tackling pressure. What are we now? 37-24, Baz.
Rowe to Walker, that was a good mark by Rose. 17 points, incidentally, is Melbourne's lead. It's their biggest lead of the season, as Henderson marks. 14 points they led St Kilda midway through the first term in the first game of the season. Yaron at ground level. Gibbs got free. Chance here. A couple of experienced campaigners combining, but the kick from Gibbs, disappointing. Perhaps he could have straightened up just to behind.
Any movement on Daisy Thomas there, Welshie?
No, we're getting reports he's got an injury with his shoulder from that tackle out on the outer wing. We'll keep you updated, but as I said, they've already got Menzel down, so another injury down, it's going to be tough for them.
Initially looking at it, I thought he might have done something to his neck. He really ducked his head into the hip of Pedersen. So shoulder, I know, disappointing, but certainly after seeing it, I thought it could have been the neck. You can see it here.
Yeah, it's always been it's almost the rugby league style tackle where he launches his shoulder in. I mean, it doesn't look great, so hopefully it is a shoulder, nothing neck related.
Well, Carazzo, just a little flick to Gibbs. Another quick snap at goal, another behind to Gibbs.
Up to 16 disposals now, Bryce Gibbs. But a couple of points when the Blues desperately need 6-pointers.
Pedersen kicking in from full back, in fact, kicking to himself. We saw him in the ruck at the centre bounce just a couple of stoppages ago. 193 centimetres. That is a short ruckman, that's for sure. Jack Watts increasing his output as well. Dawes waiting down Curnow. Good tackle. Dawes kept him honest. Tui. Scotland. Back to Tui. Bale chasing. Now, he's not quite sure what to kick to. Thumping kick, we know, so gets a bit of distance into it. Henderson. At the back is Matt Jones. Well done, they've combined nicely. That's really good work. Great use of cross. Jones got it back, and now the kick into the middle of the ground. Dom Tyson from half forward. A long ball down in the Vince direction. Was it touched? Not sure that it's going to matter, just over the line. Back to a 16-point lead. It is all Melbourne at the MCG in this second term. Less than 8 minutes to play. It's hard to see where the answers are going to come from for the Blues.
Well, it's an effort thing, Baz. I don't think it's necessarily anything too structured. I don't think the game has been dominated by structural manoeuvres, but it's certainly an effort-based game.
Well, Giorgio wins the battle of the 41s. Quick give to Viney, and then Vince on the end of it for the Demons.
And the other part to it is disposal effectiveness and efficiency. Carlton, not great at that at the minute, turning the ball over too often, but I just think if they can get the initial contest right, the initial effort right at the contest, that's the first thing to tidy up.
Seen 50s paid for less too.
Well, Bernie Vince just to the skinny side. We haven't seen the D's play with seemingly so much confidence for a long time. You referred to it earlier. It's nice to see the Demons at least having a good afternoon, because the last couple of seasons it's been horrible football. Right now, they are a chance against this Blues outfit. It made so many changes during the week, and some big names watching on in the stands for Carlton.
Buckley to Graham to Curnow. It's been busy, Curnow. 14 disposals for him. Now Jamison with a footy. 7-2 marks inside 50, incidentally, in Melbourne's favour. How about that? Simpson just backward of the wing, did nicely, ran around doors. And the little chip kick for Yaron, it sat up too long. Howe got there, was able to fist away. The kick through the middle of the ground, Simpson okay. Lucas on the end of it, he wants to move it quickly to Scotland. So Heat Scotland on half forward. Melbourne by 17 points. Remember, Melbourne have lost their last 12 matches in a row. Long kick down towards full forward. The two big men got in each other's road then. Warnock and Casbolt. Jones did nicely along the line. Grimes. Pedersen back to Jones. That's Nathan Jones. Kicks out of the congestion. Tough one to mark. Yaron waiting down. Here's Lucas. Gets the footy to Carazzo. They badly need a goal, the Blues. And they need their senior players using the football better than that.
I'll tell you what I love about Melbourne at the moment, in particular Nathan Jones. He's the captain of the club. He's playing on Carlton's captain, Mark Murphy. Murphy tried to take him deep into Carlton's forward line. You know what Jones did? He went back with him, and then he won the ball. I'm not sure if the roles were reversed, whether Murphy would follow Jones back into the Melbourne forward 50. That contest is one way at the moment, and it's reflecting the score of this quarter.
Well, Frawley, who was the young man with less size in the front spot, but Frawley did a good job. And there is Daisy Thomas, who Welshie has been updating us on. A shoulder injury after ducking his head and running to the hip of Pedersen, but looks to be coming back on in much better shape. That's good news for Blues fans, as Watts just works his way away from Thomas, and he's straight at it. And, well, he tried hip and shoulder Frawley, then missed him, and he seems to be up and about suddenly, Daisy Thomas. So heavily strapped on that left shoulder.
Yeah, Hammer, I think it's just the left shoulder. It's heavily strapped, and he had a quick little test out there. And sometimes with your shoulder, it's not a very fancy name for it, but it's diagnosed as a stinger. It feels like it's real sore, and but it recovers pretty quickly. So good result for the Carlton fans.
And the Blues may be here. Good one from Curnow, long ball. He's got to beat Giorgio, does Henderson, and well, the Sun and three Demons win the battle in the end, I think. Henderson, well, maybe not. Suddenly Yaron, he gives him a little bit of support quickly, pokes it forward. You'll have a bit of speed here. 13 versus 31, and well done. Captain Jack Grimes through for one behind.
This is part of the learning experience for Melbourne. What are we now? Just within 5 minutes to go here. Carlton with a bit of a surge on, not hitting the scoreboard. Melbourne have a chance to run the quarter out, run the half out with a bit of tempo footy. Take the safer option. No need to necessarily extend the lead going into half-time.
As you said earlier, the D's have lost their last 12. They've had a really ordinary run, and I read during the week the only teams that Melbourne have beaten in their last outing, now to just two, Fitzroy and University. They're ugly numbers.
And that's not good, is it? That wasn't a great kick that time for Howe and the ball over the line. So Carlton can continue to apply a little bit of pressure here. Less than 5 minutes remaining in the half. It's been Melbourne's half. Nathan Jones, incidentally, 12 disposals in this second term. Simply outstanding. Quick kick out of the pack by Graham. He's got too much on it. He's kicked it out of bounds on the full. Well, yeah, the worst start in recent times, 2007 for the D's. They lost their first 9 games. They've lost their first 3 to start this season. And it's already the worst start of his coaching career for Paul Roos. It was nicely done. Giorgio ran into a little bit of trouble, and just showing the benefit of exactly what you talked about then, Tom, not being too trigger happy.
Yep.
Able to get the footy through a few sets of hands. They did it nicely. Vince was involved. Jones eventually then to Watts off the back of McDonald's kick.
This is good. What's good about this, Baz, it's possession football, it's tempo footy, but it's gaining meterage as well. The poor sides will kick backwards and sideways. You've got to keep going forward.
At the same time, you'd like to see him have a go. Tyson's kick, not great. Pedersen, handball up in the air. Watts has got a lot of work to do here. He did that pretty nicely. They're asking some questions, Melbourne. Watts and Howe combining. Ball through the middle of the ground. High ball for the Blues. Yaron did brilliantly. Thumps the ball towards Henderson. Badly need a goal. Can they get one now? Ellard onto it, and Ellard gets a goal finally.
Long time between drinks, isn't it, for the Blues? Their last goal was Henderson. That was at the 12-minute mark of the first term to put the Blues up by 12 points. Since then, Dawes, Frawley, Jones, Frawley again, and done for the Demons. So back to 9 points. The Demons lead. Ellard, he was good at patches on Sunday night. Good around the goals.
So we're talking about tempo footy there, and we just saw the 50-50 contest that the Melbourne player, wasn't sure who it was, actually kicked to, and there's the turnover. So the next evolution around controlling the tempo of the game is to find the uncontested mark and not force yourself to kick to a one-on-one contest.
So a 17-point lead to the D's has been narrowed to just 9. The Blues got the last, and they push forward again. This time Grimes taken high by Lucas. And quickly they move it. A couple of runners cross, wait for the bounce. He's got support in Kent, and over the top Turlick. The ladder is used. Now Turlick, well, front spot, well done in the end. Simpson, not often he is the big man in the marking contest, but that was the case there with Kennedy Harris, short to Walker. So closing in on half-time, and the D's perhaps will take a lead in. Lucas back inside to Curnow. So just working it around the Blues. Nothing obvious at the moment for Curnow, who's become such an important member of this Carlton outfit. Really taken over the #1 role from Carazzo as the head tagger, and can do some damage at times too. Henderson out of sight. Good pickup. Inboard he comes to Gibbs. Just darts around and stops, pauses for the moment. Now over the top. Again, it's Ellard who's the target. Keeps his feet, does a terrific job. Can he get another? He got 2 in quick succession last week, and he's done it again. Well done, Ellard. Blues back-to-back goals, a couple for David Ellard.
All sorts for both those goals, Hamish, has been from an errant kick going forward for Melbourne. It was the kick that ended up in the hands of Cade Simpson, and then Carlton were able to dictate turns on the outer side and bring the ball into their forward 50 and end up with a goal from Ellard. Turlick would be ruining the fact that he lost his feet, and Ellard kept his and kicked the goal, but they're the little things that Melbourne need to get right. All of a sudden we're back to 3 points, and Carlton feeling pretty good about themselves. Fundamental here from Dean Turlick. He'll know that. David Ellard keeping his feet. That's 2 in a minute. 3 points.
Yeah, Melbourne's lead was 17. It's now back to 3. Still, Paul Roos can't be disappointed. They're showing a lot of ticker, and they've got a chance here with 1:44 on the clock. A set of square infringement. And Spencer goes long down towards full forward. Done. Running onto the football, Matt Jones. Did that nicely. Really well done. Gives the footy back to Dawes. Didn't really look when he kicked, but dangerous position. And Frawley bobbing up again. He can go back and kick at his 3rd.
Mark's here. Just here, please.
We'll have another look at the contest. Andrew Walker pleading for a shepherd off the ball. Long ball in. The one there, Walker and Vince.
Someone ran in.
Both holding each other.
Must have been you, Hank.
Man on the right, happy. Man on the left, not so happy. James Frawley has kicked a couple of goals this afternoon. 3.5. I'm tipping that hasn't happened too often for James Frawley. And this to give them a 9-point lead. Less than a minute to play. Kicked it like a fullback.
It was a good shot, actually, of the technique. He obviously ran in a straight line, but the last step just got himself off balance, and that's exactly where the ball went out, skewed to the right.
Thanks, mate. I'll let you know.
Would have been uncharted territory. He's never kicked 2 goals in a game before, so 3 would have been an absolute special aim. Still time.
Still time. Not sure whether Spud would have kicked 3 in an opening half at any point, maybe for Bungaree and the juniors. So the Blues at quarter time by 2 points, and the Demons right now by 4, and trying to take a half-time lead in against a side who had a terrible Sunday evening, and right now Saturday afternoon with Menzel wearing the red vest and Daisy Thomas having heavy treatment, not going as many would have thought. Jamison, who's battled plenty of shoulder injuries himself, and his soldiers on, didn't miss a game last year for the 2nd time in his career. Brings it wide to Everett. So this game at half-time, a flip of the coin job. The Blues the favourites, the D's the side with a 4-point lead at 6-7 to 5-9 on a Saturday afternoon at the G.